Don't get me wrong. I love being single and I love living alone. It's great. It's fantastic. But fuck, it's expensive. I just spent $600 on brakes on my car, just on the front part of the car, because I couldn't afford all 4 brakes and axles and rotors and whatever the fuck. And then now I just paid my car payment, which is $500. So I just blew $1,100 in like 3 hours. And it wasn't even like fun, you know? Fuck. Sorry, it's just so overwhelming. Like, you work and 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 you work, and it's just to pay off like your basic necessities.
They cheered for solo life, mocked traditional roles. Now they're shocked rent isn't romantic. Freedom felt cute till the utility bills asked for commitment. Suddenly being single feels less like empowerment and more like a financial trap.
I think there are a lot of people out there who think that being a single person is really easy financially because they're like, oh, well, you only have to pay for yourself. And like, wrong. Yeah, I do only have to pay for myself, which means I have to pay for my rent entirely by myself. I don't split it with a partner. My council tax bill, even though there's only one person, is only discounted by 25%. So if you're splitting your bill down the middle with a partner, I'm still paying more than you individually. My energy bills, yeah, okay, I pay less than you, but I'm not paying half because most of that cost is a standing charge. If I want to go on holiday, I have to pay for the room or the cabin entirely by myself. If I want to get a mortgage, I have to have a bigger deposit, and I can't get approved to borrow as much because I only have one income. Like, financially, is really, really difficult to be a single person, and I think more people need to remember that when they're talking to their single friends.
Funny how being independent was the dream until the bills hit. Now it's all complaints and victim points. You wanted freedom, now own the full cost of it.
Do y'all ever think about how much harder it is to function in society as a single person than as a person part of a couple? Right? Like, a single person and a couple both only need a 1-bedroom apartment. But when you're splitting it between 2 people, it's way more affordable. The single person is paying twice as much as either of the individuals in the couple. And then the same thing goes for shit like internet, cable. It's not like the couple is getting more or less. It's the same amount. It's just you have someone helping you pay for it. And then you take into consideration the fact that married people get special tax breaks that none of the rest of us get. And then you especially take into consideration the fact that minimum wage used to be able to support an entire family of 4, and now it can't support a single person.
I don't need a man turns into, why is everything so expensive by myself when the bills roll in?
I often do videos talking about the fact that I'm 39, single and happy, but today I wanted to tell you about the worst thing about being single. Gotta keep it real. It's not always easy. So yeah, the worst thing about being single is dun, dun, dun. Finances. I have to pay for everything myself. There is no one to share a single bill with. But I'm being serious. Mortgage or rent, bills, food, everything. I get to share costs with nobody.
You wanted a solo life, no compromises, no one to answer to, and now suddenly it's shocking that independence comes with a price tag. Welcome to adulthood. Freedom isn't free, and that I don't need anyone energy doesn't pay the rent.
Why isn't anybody talking about the single tax? It is significantly more expensive to be single, to the point that it's like economically irresponsible to cook when you're single. It costs $75 to make a meal, not to mention the cost of running the dishwasher, washing up all of the pots and pans. And then what am I gonna do, eat lasagna for 6 days? When I could use Uber Eats and one of their various codes each week to get a salad for $9. Imagine paying half your rent because you share your apartment with somebody, half your electricity bills, half your cable, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix subscriptions. When you're going to the airport on a trip, you don't have to pay $70 for an Uber by yourself because you're splitting it with somebody. Forget saving money on a Costco membership. When am I ever going to use 36 apples? It's honestly the only argument I have for getting in a relationship. It is expensive to stay single. But just imagine if there were no more single people. The food and beverage industry would just collapse.
They screamed independence for years, now suddenly the math is mathing. Being in a couple is cheaper. Wow. Suddenly it's unfair that life costs more when you choose to fly solo. You will never see men complaining this way.
It is so expensive to be single and to pay for all of these expenses by yourself. For context, I do live in the Bay Area, so it is hella expensive to live here, but this is essentially how much I pay in a month by myself. Close to $4,000 if I'm lucky. And again, it's not that I can't pay for these things, because obviously I'm out here living and thriving and a little hungry, but it's fine. However, it's usually the things that I don't account for on the monthly that internally kills me. Like, for example, emergencies. Y'all, it's not only costly, but the emotional expense to doing it by yourself is
Living and thriving and still complaining, men never do this shit, but they know it's their responsibility. Look at these women complaining about doing the bare minimum for their own selves. They can't handle their own goddamn selves.
Teaching kids about misogyny and incel culture is one thing. You know what I think they need to start teaching in schools? That, yes, you can have a partner and whatever, but if you ever choose to be alone, if you ever want to respect yourself and not just settle for bare minimum, if you want to release yourself from a toxic relationship, it will be very, very liberating, but very, very expensive. I have lived through the most liberating, amazing, culturing, wonderful experience the past, goodness me, what, 5 years? God. And that's not 5 years single. I've not been 5 years single, but 5 years not living with a man. And it's been amazing, but it's been so expensive.
Amazing yet expensive. Notice how these women are casually throwing the word expensive. You wanted autonomy, turns out it comes with the full bill. If it were so amazing, you'd not be here complaining about this amazing life.
Got another complaint about late stage capitalism, specifically about being a single woman, which I do recognize that we can't romanticize the past here all the time, because women couldn't even own their own credit card until the 70s. The fight for independence and autonomy and respect as a single woman in particular. So it's such a fucking uphill battle, and one of those things is the fact that those hidden costs, I guess I could say, is that I have never had a wedding shower, any sort of shower. Every single thing I've had to buy myself, and everything breaks.
Welcome to a man's everyday life. Everything costs and everything breaks. You only know this now because you have to handle yourself. They want all the perks of being single, but none of the responsibility. Talk about being delusional.
I feel like nobody's talking about this, so I am going to. Why is it that being single is actually so expensive? I have signed up for every hobby you could think of. I have gone on yoga retreats. I have signed up for surfing. I have signed up for pottery, hot yoga, hot Pilates, sitting at coffee shops. I physically have been trying to pour into my cup and fill up my free time, but I didn't know how expensive that this was going to be. And I physically and financially can just not anymore. I don't know what else to do. I can't believe that this is what life has come to.
There you go. She just told on all the women. They want to fill their cups, but with someone else's money. And now that they have to fill these bottomless cups on their own, they cave.
I'm learning that the hardest thing about being single is needing two incomes to survive in this economy. Living off one income is impossible. And so with that said, if anybody with 2 jobs is looking for a partner, let me know.
If you thought for a second that the other income she was talking about was her own, well, the joke's on you. She doesn't want to share, she doesn't want to split, she wants to completely burden the man. God bless whoever finds her attractive. Thanks for watching Manhood. If you want access to exclusive episodes and want to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video if it hit home. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. See you tomorrow.